Right. Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, I will not see which slide is next, so bear with me if I screw up. Okay. I'm going to talk about the little side project I did with WhatsApp and some basic lean startup principles which I applied there, and maybe what we can learn and some other stuff. So I can't remember when was the first time that I saw the email chat option in WhatsApp. Must have been after I bought my first iPhone 4 at that time and started chatting. Can you hear me? Okay. Started chatting with friends. I don't know if you know this option. Basically, every chat you have in WhatsApp, if you click on these settings, you can get this option. It's right now called export. Well, and if you click on it, then you can compose an email which contains a text file with all of your chat contents, and if you want, also the files attached to this chat. And of course, I tried it. Send it to me. Blurt out, don't read my chat. So you get an email, and here's already visible the text content. So I thought to myself, well, this is great. This looked like structured data. Maybe sometime I can build something on it. I already had the idea of building something upon it when I first saw it. And yeah, that idea stayed in my head for quite a long time, basically for many years before I started to study and took a class about the Lean Startup principles. I think many of you might know. If not, I can recommend to read the book. It's great for big, small projects, small projects. I think everybody can learn something here. But that's not the point. For this class, I decided to, well, basically we had the task to take some project or some idea and apply the Lean Startup principles to it. So I remembered my old idea of taking WhatsApp chats and making something out of it. And so I refined the concept for this class, which basically consists of having a user sending a chat to a specified email address which is then taken by a web app and transferred. So basically the web app is pulling the email from an email account. Later we had to add an unzip function because WhatsApp started to zip files. Parse the content and transfer it into an CSV, which is then visualized via D3.js on a website. And this web URL is then sent back via email to the user, which originally sent the chat. As you might know, if you know the Lean Startup thing, there is this concept of an MVP, minimum viable product. A minimum viable product can also be a smoke test, which I decided to use for this project. Basically, I wanted to see, that was my first intention. I wanted to see if I build it, will they come? A classic question. So I took some evenings and took the concept and built this small one-page website, pretty ugly. So where I'm showing the concept basically. So you can visualize your chat. There were some options. It was described how it worked and what features might be upcoming and some basic feedback things. So by now you might have read it, what a smoke test is. I read it again. A smoke test is a method for determining if it is sufficient, if there is sufficient customer demand for a given value proposition of a product or service to justify building the actual product or service. So basically, that's some kind of fake, just to see, build, measure, learn. So let's see what we got here exactly. You couldn't do much. I offered some options. There was a newsletter subscription, some social media sharing options. There was a buy button, which if you click on it, just said, "I'm sorry, there's nothing to buy right now." There was a feedback form, and there was this process description containing an email address. Yeah, I tracked all of these options just to see what is happening, and then okay, sorry, I forgot. This was 2013 for the class. I built it. There was not much response. I booked some Google AdWords, but there wasn't much traffic. So yeah, it wasn't good for the class. But I just left it online. And this was the return for 2014. So I built this at the end of 2013, and in 2014 it was running the whole year, maybe the longest running smoke test ever done. Yeah, I got 5 feedback emails, 6 newsletter subscriptions, basically 0 social media shares, which is also already written down in the Lean Concept book. Nobody will share something he is not sure that it's cool. So that's true. And 13 people clicked on the buy button link. That wasn't good. But then something also funny happened. People sent me round about 52 chats over the year. So what the only thing they they saw and they wanted to try is this little part where there's described how it works, and then they saw this email and they just sent in some chats. So there is people. We come to this. So we have some learnings here. That's where we did this whole stuff. That's a wrap up. At some point, I was wondering if maybe it's too smoky, so I wrote underneath this part how it works, that there's nothing to see for a while, just to be sure that people are not getting angry or something. And then for after this, I've complied some learnings here. What was important and led to building it eventually. People understand the product and how to use it, and that's something you can only see if you do something like this MVP or smoke testing, because they just tried it. It wasn't well described, but they used it and they understood what it does. Learning 2, people absolutely want to try the product. The next time I'm doing something like this, I probably will give no share options or whatsoever, but just give them some options to come as close to your product as they can. And this is hard, whether we like it or not. People don't care about their privacy too much, not as much as we probably do. Yeah, they just send the chats. They're fine with me. I'm cool, but well, I wouldn't have done it. Let's say that. And also, some really important takeaway from this trial is that WhatsApp is kind of screwed up. By receiving so many chats, I also got the option to look into the data. I was not reading chats. We're just trying to compile the data. And the original plan was to do something like that. So we got the WhatsApp chat, which is coming via email. So there's a date in front, and is time coming, some kind of divider. There's a name, and then comes the message text. So the idea was pretty easy. We take that and build an CSV, which is containing a timestamp, a date, time, a member name, a type. I'm coming to this later. There are different, you can also send files, as you know, and we wanted to recognize these file types. there's a message text, and then the web app will read the letter count and word count, applied, attach it to the corresponding line, and we are taking this to visualize something. What happened was this. It became obvious that, oh, there's no highlighting, okay. It became obvious that nearly every device and every language set is sending a different date time format, and even different dividers. Maybe afterwards somebody, maybe a mobile app developer can tell me how this can happen, but it does. This is just a small example. And there's even something else funny. From time to time, these formats switch in one chat. So there's chats with 3 different date time formats, and yeah. So we got aware of that, and which later led to building 86 regex expressions to transform around about 100 date time formats, just to make them readable for D3.js. Yeah, this is just a small slide to show you how we got the file types. So that's pretty standard stuff. You just for images, you're looking for the file ending, whatever. So JPEGs is images, obviously, videos, and so on. There's 2 kinds of GPS locations. If you just send your location without an address, or yeah, then you have a Google Maps link with the coordinates included in the URL, or you send an address, then it's from these addresses are taken from Google Plus, and you can backwards read the coordinates if you want to. If there's no files, then media omitted. In other languages, there's something else. Medien weggelassen for German, for example. And then we have vCards and status messages, which came later. We are ignoring them, so that's not important. But this made possible to know which message is basically a file or a location, and getting to know the actual text messages, and to count letters and so on for this. We also learned that there's no core data set for WhatsApp chats you get, because people install WhatsApp, use it for 1-2 days, see maybe this chat visualizer thing, want to try it, so you get chats from 1 hour long or 1 message long even to infinite days if you want. I think the longest chat we had was to 1,500 days, which is multiple years. And you also have the problem that you have these group chats, and people love group chats. So this chat data can contain 2 members or up to 256. So you see, that's not an easy task to visualize. And there's no, as I said, no core data. You cannot say, okay, most of the chats are 364 days long and they contain 3 to 5 members. That's not the case. You get everything, really everything in the book. And so this is, it also is already looked, it would be very hard to visualize. And there was also some goals I had in mind for this. I wanted to represent every data set, so I didn't want to have data and tell people, sorry, this data is very ugly, go away. I'm not visualizing anything. Also, the idea was at some day to give the people something visible. Maybe they can buy some prints, posters, books or something. So I wanted to have it visualized in a way that they can imagine how this would look like in a printed format somehow. And also, very important, make it work on mobile. People use it use WhatsApp on their mobile. You can use it on your desktop, but there's no option to send the chat via email. So the people send it from WhatsApp, and they get the link back probably on their phone. So chances are good that they will try to open the visualization on their phone. So it has to work somehow. And also, of course, I wanted to make it look nice, which was hard. So I did some doodling, some sketching. There, of course, if you start something like this, you have some crazy ideas how this could look like, sunburst and stuff and great things. But after a while, taking different chats with 2 to 100 members, having one day to infinite, I settled for some pretty basic stuff for the start, at least. So this was first layouts in Sketch. So it's basically an arrangement of bar charts, a donut chart, a radar chart, and some counts, which is still in use right now. I don't know how many of you have tried it. We're reading out when the chat starts, when it ends. We have some totals, so letter counts, days total, and some averages. The averages are not that funny if they are not compared to other averages. So maybe one day we could compare this to other chats, but that's a little bit creepy. So maybe we'll not. There's some kind of radar chart, which is I think it's nice because it's displaying when the chat is done, when you are chatting the most. So the upper part of the circle is daytime, and the lower part is nighttime. So you can see, okay, we are chatting the most at 8 p.m. or something like that. And there's also the files. So when are files mostly sent? And there's also some comparison about the members. So we're taking the letter count and just can tell people who's the most chatty and stuff, who's writing the most. And also for the files, we are reading out how many get sent. So there's chats which basically consist of voice messages and no letters at all. And yeah, that's funny. But the main part is this timeline, which is also the hardest part and can sometimes, oh, sorry, 2 minutes, okay. Which is also the hardest part because if there's ugly data, and there is, then this timeline looks also ugly. So for 2 people, we have this. Yeah, I'm skipping over this. That's not so important. The hard part was to make this working on mobile. So I found out that it's pretty cool to combine D3JS with Flexbox. That's something nice I can recommend. If you want to make something look like a compiled, cool sort of data graphic, which also looks like print a bit, and make it work on mobile, then you can make let D3JS just make multiple counts, charts, whatever, and combine them in a Flexbox, and then you can make this halfway work on mobile. Just here some kind of, I've tried to sketch it up. So basically every container in here that's a Flexbox grid is pulling some kind of count or visualization, and it's then combined, and you can then make this halfway, as I said, work on mobile. Together with some CSS scaling, it works. It's not perfect, but it is better than to show nothing or compile some static images. So that's something, if you want to do something like this, to look into. 2 minutes, okay. So yeah, I have it open in the browser, but maybe sometime sometimes you want to try it yourself. You can switch some themes on it. So let's make this. Is it big? So let's So that's basically what I already showed you. There's some hover effects just to show you the exact date and the letter count. And there's some settings. I will have a quick say on that soon. And then if you make it smaller, well, basically the counts, that's easy. That's the easy part. And then I've used some CSS scaling just to make it work. So it's better than nothing. And the upper part is just switching underneath. You know Flexbox, it's nice. Yeah. Back. So, what's next? As I said, there are some things I'd like to improve. One of the main parts is linking the visualizations back to the messages. So the app itself is pulling for every chat is pulling the whole chat, including the message content. So we could link back from, let's say, some of the bars back to the exact message on that day to show people that, or the images. I have also some ideas about other visualizations which are obvious. So a location map would be nice, although people don't use locations as much as I would like to. Also, would be nice to show emoji usage over time. For example, if you have a relationship chat, I think, yeah, let's see what the heart emoji does over time. And also, there's some word clouds you could do, stuff like that. And also, I would like to offer someday the option to have this. People are especially asking for the book, so they'd like to okay to give this as a gift. So I'm probably going to do that in the future. And then if you have any ideas or have any communication data visualizations up your sleeve, or just want to play with it, for which every chat in Chat Visualizer you can download this, as you saw, compiled in hard work CSV file. So that's perfect for just pulling it into D3.js and building something on it. If you have questions about security and privacy stuff and so on, just talk to me later. That's all.